In our latest Circle Journal spread, the theme was Steampunk Victoriana. It was the perfect theme for using our batik sepia papers, as they have a very antique and Victorian feel to them. Welcome to PM Artist Studio. I am Mariah, the M in PM. If you are new to the channel, please like, subscribe, and ring the bell. Now, let's get started. Welcome again, and thank you for watching. So to start out, I'm actually going to apologize right off the bat here that this is actually, I have done a few now of the, or actually two of the steampunk themed journal pages. I lost the video to this particular one, but what was nice is that they were very similar in their construction, especially in the very beginning. So I am gonna just go ahead and use that footage here. So you saw me use the Lindsay spray, and then on this one I went ahead and put a little bit in that bowl over there, then dipped my finished roll of double-sided tape in and created the rings. I didn't know how much of it was gonna show up, but I knew if I kind of made enough marks around, it would probably show up. And actually on this particular one for this video, there isn't a lot that would have shown up, but I didn't do the rings on it, but just kind of bonus footage there. Now what you see me doing there was digging through some papers, of which it was just a mix of all types of things, but mainly some of the brayer offs from the gel print. And that is what I have created the embossed areas with. And what you're looking at there is a painted, because that's just acrylic paint along the sides there to really emphasize the pattern on the printed paper. And that's one of the ones that is available in our Etsy shop. So link below if you want to check those out. And I came back in with a bit of Lindsay spray to just make it look a little bit more aged, add a little bit more depth. And the one you see here has more of a turquoise color to it. This particular video is the more green one, so it would have been a more yellowishy green acrylic paint that is used in this one. And similarly, we did use the yogurt top with the alcohol inked. I guess it's kind of a technique process over it to make it look aged and definitely fit the steampunk theme. I was very, very pleased with how this turned out. And on this one, I went ahead and put a little bit more blue in just because it is for an additional, for one of the other spreads. But on the one you'll be seeing coming up, there isn't as much of the green. So if you're wondering if it got lost, it really didn't. It's just, this is the footage I have, and I didn't want to not show how that was created because it is so simple. And you see me kind of just showing a couple of the different colors that I used of both Jacquard and the Ranger inks. Because we kind of own a bit of all of them. That pool color is one that mixed really well with the willow and made that almost looks like when copper oxidizes, which went really well with that particular. This was the other part that I didn't have on video, so I wanted to make sure I showed it, which is the folding of the triple pocket. You've seen us do this. This is kind of becoming one of the little tricks in my bag. I love this whole triple folded pocket idea because it creates cool little openings on the ends if you tear it just right. And in this particular spread, I will be using the torn off part as well in a different section of the spread. So never throw any of that away. And you can kind of see that I was making sure that everything was drying up and matching up properly. Just one of the things to just do some really good finish work is to come around to the back side and blot in some of those color sprays. So that way any of the parts that are showing have that nice aged and cohesive look. And then just gluing down the little pocket piece for this particular one. And on this spread, I actually did keep the folded part and tuck it under. Now we are actually doing the layout. And you can see I've already done some work over there. But again, very similar process, and that is exactly like what you saw me doing there, was over the acrylic painted part of the pattern paper, just bringing in more of the sprays, distressing those edges with it, and bringing that same worn, very steampunky look, I believe, and kind of re-emphasizing that whole idea of those finished edges. Because I'm going to create that as a page band, or it's not really a belly band because it doesn't run across, it's up and down, so it's more like a stay or a flap, but I am leaving it open because there's going to be some stuff that we tuck inside of there. But leaving those little bits on the ends open allows for more things to be tucked in there, or little kind of hidden pockets, and I love that idea, especially with the steampunk. It seems like there's always something mechanical about it, or that there's going to be some kind of button that you push. These are the things that I think about when I'm creating, especially this type of theme. So as always, and I say that a ton, I know, but as always, I am repeating, and using all parts of that envelope. If you guys are new to the channel, one of the things that we do regularly are some live events, and in those we usually, or that has been our main thing lately, is the gel plate printing, and we did these vellum envelopes during one of those sessions. They came out beautifully. I just couldn't have been more pleased. We weren't really sure exactly how they were going to work out. Sometimes vellum is a tricky little thing, and even depending on the color, they react differently, and the types of media that you put on them. And here later, I'll point out another little funny thing that vellum does. But even on top of the gel plate printed, we used our stamp. So you can see that flower pattern, it started out originally as a kneaded eraser stamp. It was then, that image was brought into papers, which is what you see there. That's our Batik Sepia, one of the original sets to use the flower stamp. And so it's always really cool to then bring in those original elements back over the top, or in side by side with it, or on top of, actually. And the leaf is the same kind of situation. It started out as a stamp, and then it's a really great way to be able to play with size and pattern, is starting out something as a drawing or a stamp, and then being able to print it out in different sizes. And of course, then the cool thing with what we do is we typically use those same patterns across our pattern papers in different colors, so you can kind of use them with one another. That is at least how we have been using them, and kind of suggest to others. One of my other favorite little tips and tricks of a torn edge is using these blendable markers. One of my most favorite things. I will also leave a link below to our commonly used products and things that we recommend. We even have some videos on comparison, because we don't recommend anything that we wouldn't necessarily use on our own, and show you guys how to use them. That is a huge, that's a big deal to us, is anything that we talk about or recommend is going to be something that we would use daily in the studio. Now, on this particular spread, it took me forever to finalize and glue down everything. And I did finally get that one larger section glued down, because I knew that it was going to be very layered, and it was important to make sure I had all those layers before committing the large section to be put down or glued down. And then, of course, again, repetition. That's one of the pieces left over from the folded piece. Oh, actually, I haven't glued it down yet, see? hadn't even glued it down yet. But this was another one of P's gel plate prints that I just fell in love with. I thought was so cool and went so well with the painted printed sheet that she let me have it. And I needed it to kind of match up to the rest of it, obviously, and I wasn't going to glue it down, so I had to technique the back. I was a little worried that it was going to adjust the color, but it only enhanced it in a way. Like, it really made the green pop through and make it more visible, and I finished up those edges. If you're feeling inspired, again, thank you for watching, and like, subscribe, and ring that bell below. Here again, just touching up because it's a heck of a lot easier to do those touch-ups on those edges and on the back of the white paper before gluing it down. Not to say that you'll see me plenty of times not doing it right. And here, I want to really talk about, this was one of those really happy accidents of just having that corner piece left over from the envelope. And when I was saying I'll talk about something in the future here with the vellum, this is it. So you see it sort of curling up on the edge just because of the little amount of glue that was added there, the moisture from it or whatever. But I didn't see that as a problem. I saw it as, oh, this is a really kind of cool effect, and led to me just leaving, you can see it curling up right there, and it kind of continued to keep curling. And this was going to get mailed, so I knew it would probably get flattened out. I don't know if it will continue to curl up, but anyway, cool effect, and hopefully, you know, when it gets where it's going, that it'll still keep a little bit of its curl, because I thought that was a pretty nifty little look that was happening there, and why I kept it just as it is, almost this little wand-like bookmarky almost tag. I could have put a quote on it, but I wanted to leave that for the person that it's going to, for them to decide whether or not they wanted to add things. I kind of hope that that's what they do. That would be really cool. Anyway, so just piecing this thing together from little tidbits left over. I did glue the whole thing down, but as I noted on the little corner piece there, by the time I had used like a little bit of glitter glue to add a little shine there, and then using the glue to glue down exactly right there, it curled up and kept pulling. So like I said, vellum's a funny thing, and it never quite, just when you think that you kind of have a handle on it, it gives you some weirdness like that. But anyway, I ended up pulling it apart, and I think gluing it or re-gluing it back down once I could kind of determine that it was going to, you can see it actually almost curl like right there. You see it pulling. But I had to fix that part because it just was really weird. So another little moment of, oh, that was really wasn't quite what I wanted it to be. I actually wrote out a quote, which I very rarely do, and this is why. So P did write it out in a more scripty, handwritten. She has lovely handwriting and can do more scripty writing than I can. So that's what you saw there. It's me gluing over that. Now to bring our awesome yogurt, and I say yogurt, that's how my daughter says it, yogurt top into play. And figuring out, I knew I wanted to use as much as I possibly could. And one of the nice things about it is that it is pretty lightweight and pretty easy to cut. That being said, it can also get a little bit sharp, and you have to be careful on edges. So I'll address that here in a little bit as well. See, there's where I popped it down and or tore it so that way it would actually lay back down flat and stop turning into like a bow and arrow, and then glued it back down. So you'll see me pull out that envelope here and there And what that is are pieces and parts from our rusty metal creations. Mainly P made them. I just helped cut them out with the Cricut. But all of those rusty metal butterflies and washers and circles and things, that is what that one piece is from, that I was hole punching little parts to put on the moth wand, is what I'm calling it. But some really cool stuff there. And now the embossing part, you saw a bit of that done at the beginning. You just see me doing another piece of the brayer off, which was really great because it's almost like leather. It's so cool. Again, went so well with the theme, and we did happen to have an embossing folder with the gears, which always I think of steampunk being very gears, and that sort of leather, all those colors there with copper and tubing, all that sort of stuff. That's very steampunk to me. If you have other ideas on things that we should definitely add and consider, comment below. We love those. And if you are new to the channel, please do like, subscribe, and come back. We do videos each week, and we do live streams each Wednesday. So another one of the handwritten quotes by P, not me, went in the off-cut part of the pocket. Again, didn't want to not use anything and everything. I really tried to keep to that on this particular spread, and using everything in the spread versus keeping it for something in the future. And so I made that funky little pocket, and that was also very similar in creation or technique to the ones we did in the boho journal, with that whole corner or slanted cut, so when it's in the pocket it's straight across. I just think that's really nifty. It's always like a little surprise. I like having little surprises. I love it when things are little secret compartments, or you get to really interact with a spread. So you saw me fold it over, and I was a little worried that folding it over was going to crack the aluminum on the yogurt top, but it didn't. And that was a pretty good solution to that edge. Normally I don't like to run it across an edge like that, so I can kind of clean them up or cover them up when using the aluminum. Once again, just repetition from one page to the other, to all the different elements, and making sure that each one is fully a part of another. All the parts lead into the next thing. Just see me using the Chocola acrylic markers. I'm really in love with them. I do have another video planned soon to do a versus with the Arteza markers, because I was very curious how they are going to compete with one another. So stay tuned on that one coming up. But I do love them. They're a great asset, and the fact that they come in so many different colors is really wonderful, because it seems that I always have the color that I want, which wasn't always the case before with a lot of the markers I had. It was a very limited color set. So just kind of recapping here that you saw on the little moth wand that I used the edge of the yogurt top to create almost a feather-like. I mean, it just was spot on. I was so pleased with that. So pleased. And here I was talking about earlier, I felt like it was my duty to cover that up and make it not so sharp on those edges. So even though it was going to be the back side, I wanted to do that. Now, I created a pocket on the end there. So you see the three little pockets, the ones that are facing forward. But behind that you can actually tuck something. And then I thought, well, it would be a shame if I didn't create something to actually put in there. And then I had to keep in mind that, which was a little bit of a bummer, that I couldn't leave it in the pocket when I mailed it. But in order to fit in the envelope properly, I had to just leave it kind of free flowing inside of the mailer. So hopefully when she's watching this back, she can see, oh, cool, that actually goes right in behind there. And I think I left a note too. Pretty sure I did. This has been a couple of weeks ago, so a lot happens and I forget what notes I put in or if I thought about doing something. But this was pretty funny. You could see the writing on the back. I was so sure that I had it written out the right way. I'd drawn a line around it and everything, handed it to P. It was the wrong way. And so she had to rewrite it once again in the lovely scripty font that she did the other two quotes in. I guess I'll probably put a link below of all the quotes that we used in this, because there were some really great ones and definitely went well with this particular theme and kind of the layout. I really loved it. So that green piece is one of the paint swatches. I use those quite often as well. And I thought it really brought home that feeling of the moth-like wings, which to me also go very well with that steampunk. There's that one series that has the fairies in Victorian kind of setting. And I thought about that fairly often when I was creating this, because it just really felt that it had that same feel. So there you are. That is the first of the steampunk journal spreads. Thank you guys again for watching. We do appreciate it. Lovely little hidden notes. More of our papers. Reuse of the yogurt top. You can see that all throughout. There was that one piece. One of the parts of the envelope, vellum envelope. A hidden little moth, our big moth, and our cool little wand. As always, like the video if you haven't already. Leave us a comment. We love those. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Ring that bell. We do this each week. Thank you for watching. Bye.